what transpired, how violent it got, running in the heart. I just hope you got the 40. 20 niggas in dark clothing, that's what we learned. You should hear the arrogance these niggas from
throughout the day and the night. You had a situation where the prisoners, nearly 1,300, came out into the yard. They elected men to represent them from each of the cell blocks. They negotiated for 4 long days and nights with the state of New York for better conditions. And things were going really well. And on that 5th morning, the state of New York, the officials, the Governor Nelson Rockefeller, decided to retake that prison with force.
Did you hear that?
There had been about 600 state troopers that had been out front of that prison for those same 4 days
25 minutes.
getting angrier and angrier, passing out weapons pretty indiscriminately, state-issue weapons, their own personal weapons, and all that.
Personal weapons.
He sent those men in, nearly 300 of them, really, really angry, not trained in this kind of riot control, and within 15 minutes, they had shot
suppression, the guys rioting on control of the riot.
Both prisoners and state employees on the inside, and shot a total, actually, of 128, some 6-7 times, and it was a real orgy of violence. Ben told the American public out front of that prison that something really different had happened, that the prisoners had committed all that violence, that the prisoners had killed the guards inside, and really changed American history thereafter as a result of those lots.
Yeah, apparently the authorities said the inmates had killed the hostages by slitting their throats, and one hostage was said to have been castrated, but the autopsies didn't show any of that, so it was a great cover-up or a big lie, wasn't it?
Well, that's right, and in fact, we didn't know for many, many years the extent of the cover-up. The state officials said that the prisoners had killed the guards inside of that prison, but in fact, the only people that had guns were the troopers that entered that morning to retake the prison. And even though that story went out on the front page of the New York Times and the LA Times and every small town newspaper in between, that was a lie, the American people believed it. And the story was eventually corrected, but it didn't matter. It would send our nation into a real anti-prisoner, pro-war on crime kind of moment from which we are still recovering. As you know, the United States has locked up more people than any other country, really on the planet. And it had consequences that we really didn't fully understand until we had begun to piece together just how much that prison uprising had been covered up and how much we didn't know.
Or whatever.
Yeah, and at the end of it, no significant lawsuits, no major settlements, nothing of consequence that way in a monetary sense, but the legacy lives on of Attica, and maybe a lot of lessons that were not learned, as you say. Dr. Thompson, I appreciate your giving us a synopsis here on this date 50 years ago today when the uprising in Attica started, and it lives on in infamy. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks so much for speaking with me.
You got it. Dr. Heather Ann Thompson, historian at the University of Michigan, author of the book Blood in the Water, the Attica Prison Uprising of 1971 and its Legacy. We'll come back, more legacy questions or points to be made. The Sound and the Fury. Anthony Fury, Peter Tabbins next on The Oakley Show. Global News Radio, 640 Toronto.
Want to get a hot and perfect body fast? Just eat lots of bananas, but pills only. And always be sweaty, but never look sweaty. That's disgusting.
Don't follow extreme routines. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness. Get started now on September 16th for just $1 down. And get back to
that would take long enough for me to hold
sur presque juste le mouvement. Mais quand je travaille, il peut aussi avoir, j'incorpore d'autres éléments. Comme par exemple, dans le parc c'est rempli de, par exemple, il y a des arbres, il y a des bancs, il y a des objets, les gens vont être autour, alors je vais tenir compte de l'environnement. Et puis, en général, dans les performances, il peut y avoir d'autres éléments, j'incorpore aussi des choses comme des objets choisis pour leur symbolisme, pour faire des effets sonores. Parfois, je peux avoir un enregistrement sonore avec une narration. Parfois, j'ai une vidéo. Donc, mon travail peut prendre différentes formes, mais à la base, il y a toujours cette présence physique et des actions, des gestes en direct, en personne. Et c'est pour ça que c'est si important pour moi de retrouver cette liberté de mouvement.
Votre travail d'artiste médiatique en vidéo est plutôt
It's
politique.
too bright. I would try to show you the
Alors, la
garden.
performance, si vous comparez avec votre travail de vidéaste, qu'est-ce que ça vous apporte de
Smells like
différent?
bleach.
Ben, je pense que mon travail, à la fois quand j'utilise la vidéo et d'autres médias, comme simplement la performance en direct avec le corps, je pense que ça dépend simplement des projets. Tout peut avoir une dimension politique, mais il arrive aussi que je fasse des performances qui sont un petit peu plus axées sur la forme, comme ce que je vais faire là, qui est une improvisation de mouvement, donc un petit peu moins narratif, et donc, disons, la dimension politique est peut-être un petit peu moins présente. Mais par contre, si on pense à pourquoi j'ai choisi de faire ce type de performance, en ce moment, dans le fond, c'est aussi, je ne sais pas si on peut appeler ça une dimension vraiment politique, mais c'est quand même, disons, un geste pour affirmer ce besoin collectif qu'on a de retrouver une certaine normale éventuellement, ou bien de faire avec les effets de la pandémie.
I'm so sorry, but
The federal election is on Monday.
Jesus. That's propaganda display.
Polls will be open September 10th to 13th. If you prefer, you can apply to vote by mail, or you can vote
By
at
the
any
way-
Elections Canada office before Tuesday, September 14th, 6 p.m. Check your voter information card for all the ways you can vote.
For the official information on voting and/or health and safety measures, visit elections.ca or call 1-800-463-6868. It's our vote.
You are listening to The John Oakley Show on Global News Radio 640 Toronto.
Here we go, Thursday edition, bottom of hour 2. We got the sound and the fury. That's Anthony Fury, Sun Post media columnist, the national comment editor, as well as host of the podcast.
Pay attention. He
Comment
pronounced
with
the
Anthony
N.
Fury. Joining us,
Columnist.
Peter Tabbins,
He pronounced
the
it. He enunciated.
advocate for Toronto Danforth and the critic for energy and the climate crisis. Gents, welcome aboard.
The-
Thank you both, Anthony
damn
and
it.
Peter, for being with us. Good afternoon. Hey, Anthony, let me ask you, because we had a...
Known as SB 8, the Texas law differs significantly from laws blocked in other states because it leaves enforcement up to private citizens through lawsuits instead of criminal prosecutors.
Wait,
The
what?
statute deputizes all private citizens without any showing of personal connection or injury to serve as bounty hunters.
For what?
The Justice Department's lawsuit was filed today in federal court in Texas.
Wait.
Reporting live, I'm Michelle Mackey.
What did I mean? I thought
This is 680 News. It's that time of year in Hollywood North.
so it means I'm a bounty hunter. Yes, it does. If you come all the way up here where I can see you, I'm a bounty hunter, according to this statute. Yes, sir.
philosophy
July 19th, 1776. Go find yourself.
University setting. It appears she wishes to conduct something of a profound meditation on these issues, which are very momentous in our lives, things that no one had expected a year and a half from now. And I think those voices are very important, no matter what they conclude, no matter whether one agrees with her particular actions or choices. So I certainly think there should be a space
That's a mango.
for individuals like
I'm gonna look
her
up a picture of
in all
mango
of this.
seedlings.
And I also think there was originally
I planted a bunch of things. That could be a
for it.
cherry
Back
or
when we
apricot
first
or some
introduced
shit.
vaccines, there was a graphic that was doing around that was presented by, I don't know if it was Public Health Agency of Canada or some official organization, and it showed what happened when you have, it had a bunch of dots representing, everybody, and all the dots were, let's just say, or whatever, they were colored one color to represent vaccinated, and then they were colored another color to represent unvaccinated, and there was a few unvaccinated in the mix, and they said, this is how it works. This is how it's going to be. That's how we protect everybody. So I've never understood the obsession with really needing to badger people to get to 100% rate in all of this when we're in a diverse society and people are going to make different choices for a whole bunch of reasons that we may not understand or agree with. So I continue to be alarmed with the fact we have to obsess over and fetishize the small minority of people who don't want to go ahead with this stuff. All right, over to you, Mr. Tabbins. I mean, conscientious objection. Should there be some accommodation or allowance for that?
No, John, I don't think there should be. And I think in this case,
no, but you think you should be allowed to tell me to put a toxin in my body that will kill me.
But she's also a person who's not willing to take on any of the other safety measures, like wearing a mask or getting tested regularly. It's irresponsible. Someone who's
did she say that, or you're saying
where we're dealing with a far more contagious version of COVID, this Delta variant, is going to be teaching young people who tend to have much lower vaccination rates. She's not being responsible.
How?
And she needs
you think kids do what their teacher does? Are you fucking stupid? If the teacher does that, they'll do this. That's why we need spinsters, teachers that don't have kids, so kids will know not to have premarital sex before graduating high school and being baptized. Listen to how old this fucking piece of shit is.
Take the position that she has.
Well, conversely, it may just be because she's teaching ethics that she has staked out that position, but you're saying she's not being responsible. She has said, and this is her video now, I'm quoting, who is the authority giving the order? So she's brought into question whether or not there is a fealty to, let's say, the state, some say Big Brother or whomever, versus the individual. So I don't know. I mean, if we're getting too philosophical here, stop me. But Anthony, I mean, when she questions who the authority is that an appropriate question to be raising?
Yeah,
I think all appropriate questions are appropriate ones to raise, particularly from someone in her position. And no, we can never get too philosophical. It's what I studied at university, and one of the things that I found most sort of beneficial with that education.
Pembroke, Ontario, from your IP address. Thank you.
The original premise, the fundamentals. What are we actually trying to accomplish?
VPN, no,
what are the
ADSL.
original objectives, the starting principles, and so forth. And I feel like right now, we're just too caught up in chasing the headlines of the day, and we forget about things that happened, last week, last month, or what have you.
What
I find
does
it
it
very
have to
remarkable
do?
that people are clinging to many of these measures like vaccine passports as if, this is just the one thing we all have to do. Everyone must comply with it.
Why?
And then everything will be hunky-dory right after.
No,
the
it
virus
won't.
will disappear. Even though we've had many sort of instances like that. There's sort of one every couple months now that turns the corner. So for somebody to object in the way this lady has, I'm not defending everything she said. I'm not actually familiar with every single
Thank you, because people are saying she said things and we didn't hear it yet.
Let's have this discussion here. Let's hash it out.
And you'll notice she's not on.
The unethical thing
They just
is for people to just
don't have an
wave the white
explanation for
flag, repeatedly for every momentous change that's gone on in our life. The past year and a half. By all means, you want to support many of them. Most people do support most of the measures, but we have to talk it out. We have to think rationally rather than create these sort of scapegoat individuals, which this woman has clearly become the latest version of.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I have a baby mango.
Quickly.
Yeah, if I can, I just said.
Now, these are all mature plants. I typed in mango seedling.
That we're chasing. We've
Type
got
sprout.
a really problematic, contagious disease. We're trying to contain it. People have been sick of going through a very tough year and a half. We have a solution in hand. We're going to have a variety of things that we have to do. There is no one silver bullet. I wish there was. There isn't. And so we need to look in every area. How do we reduce the transmission of disease? How do we keep people safe? And this person is not willing to do even the simplest things, like wear a mask, to keep her students safe. That's not ethical. You have to think about the population as a whole. If you're in a position of power, you have to think about those people who are in your charge. That's her students. She's not thinking about them, and I don't think she has a leg to stand on.
Yeah, and Anthony, when you were saying other parts of her argument, I think that's where it sort of muddies the water, because she talks about the vaccine as being purely experimental and also efficacy, and she gets into the
There's
argument.
no 30 years of experience with this shit.
Not yet,
and it's not the vaccine. There are dozens. There's probably hundreds in the works.
It's designed to prevent an illness that.
Well, they're all the same, except they're not.
I mean, these are kinds of cases that maybe she's starting to argue against herself or unravel. But on the other matter too, if this is a potential lawsuit, I'm just curious, Anthony, to your knowledge, do you think this stuff is really ripe for being tested in court?
Well, I think we will see further court challenges on various aspects of this, and yeah, you're going to see people going to court over these matters.
Now, one of those is pretty sure was rotted, and the other one wasn't. I guess I know what's wrong now.
They're going to face charges moving ahead, or fines, or what have you, because, you let this slip through the cracks and so forth. They're going to be upset. They're going to want to litigate on that, because businesses have already been so hard done by. Yeah, we're going to see more stuff work its way through the legal system.
All right. Somebody quantify the cost of unvaccinated in hospitals and ICUs and so on and so forth. So to Peter's point, you know, when we've got a case that this is something showing irresponsibility, there are a lot of behaviors societally that are also irresponsible and lead to these kinds of costs within the medical health care service. But nonetheless, I won't litigate this any further. There's more to talk about, including last night's.
You're not litigating anything. You're misusing the language.
Points I wanted to run by you guys. The Sound of the Fury, Anthony Fury, Peter Tabbins on the Oprah Show will continue in that vein. 16 now, away from the top of the hour, and we're back to the roads with a check and chopper traffic.
Looks like a seedling. I don't know how to describe it well.
At the 400, this car still blocks the left. Lanes stay with the collectors here. We try to stay with the express lanes through Leslie. We still got that one in the East 401 collectors at Leslie blocking the right lane.
I should have been rolling a joint.
QEW is still jammed over the Burlington Skyway from the Red Hill all the way to Fairview. That's because two right lanes.
How our newest release for $269,000 gives you guaranteed.
What?
Register? Go to thesimpleinvestor.com today. The Simple Investor. We make the world a real estate investment simple.
Au Lightbox du CIF, je vous laisse écouter ce festival-ci.
So far, wonderful, because there's no lineups, they said. And I showed my proof of vaccine, and that was okay.
I've been coming to TIFF for over 20 years, and it's always incredible. The city's alive, the films are beautiful, and it's just a really great time to be in the city.
Why is it all in English? Damn.
Partly cloudy in downtown Toronto, 21 degrees. I'm Sljana Tamintik.
I'm James Monroe. Here's what's making news right now.
Close to 200 delays today in York Region, where a shortage of school bus drivers created chaos for students trying to get to their first day of school. School Bus Ontario tells us this is the province's fault, and we have yet to receive comment from the Ford government. In the U.S., the Justice Department is now suing Texas over its new state law banning most abortions. And coming up after sports,
it's a whole new ball game. The English language leaders debate is being held tonight, and experts say there will be more drama, more at stake, and the outcome of the election may hang in the balance.
Effectivement, Serge, j'ai compté 72 films, parmi lesquels des courts-métrages aussi, réalisés par des femmes. On retrouve aussi dans la programmation des films à thématique autochtone. Il y a par exemple une rétrospective sur l'œuvre de la réalisatrice Abénaquine à la mise au Botawin. On a aussi la thématique de justice sociale. Je pense notamment au film documentaire Attica. Et ça parle justement d'une confrontation cinglante aux États-Unis entre la police et
you show me with your JavaScript, Google. You're garbage. You're garbage, Google.
Mais je vous laisse écouter la programmatrice plutôt du CIF, Andrea Pécard. Elle parle de l'importance de l'inclusion et de la diversité dans le festival.
Ça fait partie de notre mission. Je pense que ça fait partie de l'évolution du discours dans le monde. Je pense que la jeunesse mène vraiment la conversation. Donc, c'est vrai pour cette année parce qu'on a moins de films aussi. Donc, les décisions étaient plus difficiles. On a beaucoup parlé de représentation régionale aussi à travers le Canada. Donc, moi, j'ai un film du Manitoba et ça arrive pas souvent. On voit plein de films de Montréal, de Toronto, de Vancouver. Mais c'est très important, la diversité.
Et autre événement très attendu, bien sûr, Serge, c'est bien l'épopée de science-fiction d'une coécrite réalisée par Denis Villeneuve et ce sera samedi.
Francesca Merranti, merci beaucoup et surtout, bon festival.
Merci beaucoup, Serge. À la prochaine.
À la prochaine. Dans quelques instants, on parle de ce procès qui s'est amorcé hier en France avec François Brousseau.
Where we help clients save money using the today.
Who knew that the hardest part of being an adult Yeah, let's make good food, everyone.
Are you concerned about
your... What did you just do?
Let Wolfgang...
And apply the John Oak. And Waivers of Canada. Record removal made easy. 416.
A political scientist with Mount Royal University tells me there could be a pivot this time because it's such a tight race. This typically is the time most voters make up their minds, and even the slightest move in the polls will matter.
5% is significant. That makes or breaks an election.
A mango is an edible stone fruit produced by the tropical tree Mangifera indica. The Mango is the 65th episode of the sitcom Seinfeld. It aired on September 16, 1993, and is the premiere of the show's 5th season.
May be in a difficult spot.
Very vulnerable on a range of issues from climate control.
And it was updated less recently than the Mango fruit
Will
page.
center around 5 themes: affordability, climate, COVID recovery, leadership and accountability, and reconciliation. Cormac makes swinging Parliament Hill.
Traffic and weather together next.
Award-winning builder Geranium welcomes you to West Pickering's Asbury Town.
West Pickering.
Townhomes up
West
to 2,600
Pickering.
square feet with 2-car garages and prices from just
Which
over
side of
$1
Pickering
million.
is the power plant on?
ASPREYtowns.com.
Smile Cookie Week is coming to Tim Hortons. Every time you buy a cookie, 100.
65 different debates. George Smitherman's previously
I
told
don't give a fuck about saying kids to soccer as much as I care about like people going to the hospital with their kids not being able to stay somewhere near them.
60
Because
debates.
the cheapest motels are far the fuck away from the hospitals.
2 English language debates for choosing the next prime minister of this country. 2 debates. Is that not too
Myanmar,
difficult?
Bangladesh,
By all means,
northeastern
have one in
India, I guess
one
it's
of the
Hindustan
great
and Burma.
League cities of Toronto or Ottawa, but maybe go over to Vancouver for one, or our friends in Alberta would probably like to hear from the leaders. Like, come on, we should have to muster a little bit more.
Yeah, Tabbins, I don't know if you agree or
the
disagree,
Southeast
but I
Asian
mean,
type. That's helpful because
some of
India
the
and
points that are
Southeast
being
Asia not
made,
that far
I mean,
apart.
you're a climate change guy, and Quebec is big on that file, and so it reared its head yesterday. But, you know, tonight, for example, there's no talk of foreign policy, and the situation, for example, in Afghanistan, sort of swept under the rug. Canadians still languishing there or permanent residents. Trudeau government didn't do too much to get these people out when they promised they would. Do you think that we're maybe missing a whole lot of interesting things to discuss, you know, in terms of governance that are just, I don't know, being whitewashed away?
It's a good question, John. There's a mix here. First of all, yeah, I thought the Liberals' performance on taking care of the people who had helped us in Afghanistan was appalling, and we talked about it that in the last show. They were on it late. They didn't do what they needed to do. I don't think
30
they're
to
doing
40
today what they
meters.
need to
Hey.
do to actually look after the people who looked after our troops, our people in Afghanistan.
300 years.
I'll say to you,
We
it's
should
just
all
not
grow
coming up
mangoes.
the door. It's intriguing to me. I mean, housing's coming up the door, climate's coming up the door. Whether there should be an election at all, that's coming up at the door a lot. But those foreign policy issues, Afghanistan, I've been surprised. I thought that there would be more, and there hasn't. As to the question of whether there should be more debates, there are 2 in Quebec, because one of the Quebec networks just simply holds its own, and people are told, well, you know, show up or have an empty seat be there representing you. And so if we want to have more debates, then, you know, English Canadian media could set them up. I think the parties would go along with it.
Yeah, you know, you mentioned housing. That's interesting because it has
We
reared
hear
its
this
head.
visit.
Matter of
Yeah.
fact,
That's all he's
there's a
got
little
to say about the
candidate,
fact
out
Quebec
in
even exists.
Maritime.
People like me exist.
Actually,
People like that are why my education got fucked.
Giving his
Oh, you're in grade 6 now. Guess what? Everything's in English. You're not trying hard enough, and you don't exist.
Homeowners
You were invented by Hollywood. You don't actually exist.
you can save a tax.
One of my teachers get shot, kidnapped, raped, beat up, and burned alive. That's why.
That's something.
Oh, I'm not supposed to mention that happens? That happens.
It's tax free when you take that money out.
Getting stabbed ain't nothing. You don't know how this fucking country runs.
Anyone selling their primary residence, you do make money on that. So unfortunately, you will have to pay tax on that.
You do make money on that? No, you don't.
I wouldn't agree to that either, but it's what we have to do.
Deduct all the property taxes, maintenance, and updates you had to do over the years, mandated by the same people claiming you owe them money.
But Anthony, on that matter, do you think that's going to surface tonight?
Well, you can't do that. Well, we did it with the fucking meal limitation. Oh, you get to charge 30, we get to charge 45. Why? Because we say so.
They say, well, they don't want to
Judge said
see
no.
people flipping houses, so you got to have that place for more than a year. But boy, that's scaring a lot of people because this is their retirement.
I think this is American style. That's not the American style.
Well, exactly. I mean, it's really unclear what the Liberal policy is. And they get very touchy when you suggest that they are doing this. They say, no, we're not. And it's like, well, he thinks the wage does protest too much. What's actually going on? Because to your point, in the platform, they are inching towards it. And we're getting closer and closer, John, to a proposal whereby the federal government maybe seek to go and actually take money off the sale of your primary residence. You have one home, you've been in it for however long, you're going to use those proceeds for your retirement home or to gift to your kids or to buy, your next house, your forever home or whatever you're doing. And wait, the government's going to take money off of that? Like it's, like you're buying and selling stock as a day trader or something? So lots of
So the last 50 years you've been putting money into it because you're getting a 2-to-1 return by not having to pay tax on it. And they're saying, actually you do now. We lied.
Into things around the edges of all of that. So it's in the ether right now. Be on guard.
How do you see it, Peter? Is that a political non-starter? I mean, or do you think that this is a source of revenue and the government's going to need it? So potentially taxing principal residences, would that fly?
Well, certainly not in our platform, John. And as you're well aware, we're proposing that for the ultra-rich in this country, they pay wealth tax. Working people already pay a lot. They pay a lot in taxes, and they pay a lot, frankly, just in terms of everyday expenses. And they're not the people who should be paying more, but people who have got $10 million in assets, people who are making an awful lot of money on stock options, sale of stocks and bonds. Yeah, they should be paying more. I don't think there's any question. And frankly, when I raise it at the door, I'm not
more
surprised.
What do you mean?
I'm sure neither of you
Tell
are
us
surprised
specifics.
I'm raising it. It's very popular. Working people want rich people to pay more, and they don't want to pay more. I don't think they should have to, period.
Yeah, finally, I've got to ask, because it surfaced last night, one of the people who was asked a question, it was somebody from the Mohawk Reserve south of Montreal, and he wondered about making Indigenous languages official or giving them official status. On this, the date 40 years ago of the Official Languages Act, which enshrined French and English as the two official languages with biculturalism and bilingualism. Does that make any sense?
Did you hear how the words are coming up? He's choking on those words.
I think honoring the culture of Canada's First Peoples makes a lot of sense in a whole lot of ways.
Because otherwise, your government is illegitimate, and we are within the rights of law, the color of law and the color of right to take it back.
Of this country geographically where French is not the first, not the second, not the third, not the fourth, not the fifth language.
Been done.
So I'm not so sure about this one.
Hey, and finally, Peter, I've got to ask you,
I'm not
because
so sure about this one.
Proposal
You don't fucking speak the language.
A statutory holiday in the province. This is in commemoration of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, or a Remembrance Day of sorts. On that note,
remember, there's nothing that has to be changed.
Instead of statutory holiday.
They already offer services in 300 languages, which is 5% of the languages known.
Was a sound one. Too often First Nations are an afterthought, and this would actually give a lot more profile, an opportunity for people to think about what's happened in Canada and how we deal with the problems that have been created. And I would say that
the government,
the Ford government, really missed out on this.
He was too busy calling me an apple twice on Friday. Was it July 22nd or something?
Come back, and that should be made a
May
statutory
22nd sometime.
Anthony, I got to let you give a response real quickly. Statutory holiday.
I wrote it on the wall, and it came out the next day.
But not everybody
Close to
gets
saying an apology. You're going to
I was going to use the Remembrance Day example. Look, as I said, let's do a lot to honor our First Peoples culture and respect and so forth. But I almost think this is a bit of a red herring. I'm not sure if we need an extra day like this. I think we can bring up the conversation and respect and dignity that's deserved, regardless of what happens.
I appreciate very, very much, as always, you two gentlemen on the Sound and the Fury. Anthony,
no matter what happens, you're going to speak the way I say is respectful.
For Toronto Danforth. We'll do it again next week. Thank you so much for your time. Let's get to Tom at Tom's Place, just ahead of the news, updated here on the Oakley Show. Hi, Tom.
Thank you, Emily.
The meme stock favored by Reddit traders is up.
Nope, that's not a business report, bro. You're retarded. Mangoes are believed to have originated from the region between northwestern Myanmar, as Burma, Bangladesh, and northeastern India. The Hindustan is the national fruit of Pakistan and India. That's interesting. The mango is considered an evolutionary anachronism whereby seed dispersal was once accomplished by a now extinct evolutionary forager, such as a megafauna mammal.
You've been giving everything a second look. So why not take a second look at how you bank? Switch to the Scotiabank Ultimate Package and earn a $300.
Yes, dickhead, we're not adding you. You know what the weird part is? You keep putting pictures of girls and calling yourself a boy. He wants to be your friend. You've been doing this for 2 fucking years, bro. You're disgusting. There's something wrong with you. But it's not something wrong that makes it not your fault. It is your fault. You keep doing some fucked up things. Like, there's no use for you.
Oh, an amazing.
Except for medical testing. That's why I think it's funny. You keep calling me a lab rat.
In Markham, partly cloudy, 20 degrees. Mississauga, partly cloudy, and 21.
The children of shame, like the
21 degrees. 6 City News, the CFTR.
What is it? Deutsch
Toronto,
shorts, whatever.
no,
It doesn't matter. The shorts are naked. Anyway, you call us children of shame. Yeah, we're to be experimented on. Hey, why are you sending me friend requests, stupid? How can you see that every single fucking thing on my profile says exactly what I am, and you still insist I'm a different guy?
Top stories right
You
now.
fucking retard.
The first day back to class in York Region came with serious transportation issues for kids who take the school bus. There were close to 200 delays due to a shortage
And that just
of
proves
bus drivers.
sex offenders, in particular child molesters, are particularly stupid. You all think you're high IQ. All stupid people think they're smart. Smart people think they're average at best.
Back with big movies, big stars, and stargazers.
The autograph seekers almost literally climbed over us.
Dear Evan Hansen gets the opening night red carpet.
The Blue Jays are going for an 8th straight victory tonight as they try to sweep the New York Yankees. And Layla Fernandez plays her U.S. Open semi this evening. Sports at 15.
No victories for equity markets. The stock benchmarks fall. Plus, new NFL season tonight, but advertisers are already clamoring to buy Super Bowl ads. Business.
What happened about the shooting? There was a shooting.
6 City News Time 501.
Traffic and weather together on the ones brought to you by Lexus of Oakville. Airborne Chopper 680. Kyle.
Big issues on the Toronto-bound QEW still. From Fairview to the 403, 2 right lanes blocked for that ongoing truck fire cleanup. Only the left lane open. They do have to repave a section of the highway here, but that won't start until 9 tonight. So they're just sort of holding that area until they can get it fixed up. It's heavy on the Toronto-bound.
Are you really in a helicopter now?
Through to Fairview, and then you get past.
You're usually at
Afternoon, I'm Danny Longo. It's cloudy and 22 degrees. With less than 2 weeks until Election Day, millions of voters are expected to tune in to tonight's 2-hour English language debate. The debate comes as opinion polls suggest the Liberals and Conservatives are stuck in a tight two-way race, with the NDP and Bloc poised to determine which of the two main parties emerge victorious. An Ipsos poll for Global News found that 68% of Canadians say that we should not be having an election during a pandemic, and the polling also looked at how Canadians feel about protests at political events. Ipsos CEO Daryl Bricker says that the polling was done, though, prior to the rock-throwing incident in London.
For older voters, they're much more likely to be shocked by what is happening on the road with the Prime Minister and the protests, and really feel that it's not something that's appropriate. It's younger voters that seem to be the ones that are most likely to believe that this is just kind of a normal part of politics, which I don't know if that bodes well or ill for the future, but there seems to be a bit of a generational divide on this.
You can hear tonight's debate here on 640 Toronto starting at 9 o'clock. A new study released by the Canadian Institute for Health Information says that the cost of taking care of a COVID patient in hospital averages $23,000. That's about the same as someone receiving a kidney transplant.
They just said it was $55,000 on the other station.
The Medical Association explains why the cost is so high.
There's the cost of all the healthcare.
It's less than half of what they said it was in the other station.
Nurses, doctors, cleaning staff, social workers, respiratory therapists, all the team that's needed. And then there's the equipment, drugs, and all the environmental
drugs are so expensive
associated with the hospital. So of course, the longer that you're in the hospital and the higher level of care you're needing,
don't kid yourself. We pay for that.
All those things drive costs.
Cost of admission to ICU for COVID patients more than doubles the cost to $50,000. The province reported a jump in new cases of COVID-19 today to 789 after 3 days below 600, but the rise came amid much more testing. The positivity actually dropped Number of people in general wards and hospital dropped the past day to 365.
The positivity rate changed. Yeah, you can modify that with how many people you test, stupid.
Ministry of Health says that
I wasn't paying
84% of Ontarians over the age of
I've
12
waited
now
for
have
5
at least
fucking
one
days for
dose
these
of the
numbers.
vaccine, and 77.5% have 2 doses. Many parents are not happy with a recommendation from Toronto Public Health. It wants schools in the city to hit the pause button on extracurricular activities.
Toronto Public Health has recommended extracurricular activities, field trips, and mixed cohort high-contact sports not happen for at least this first month of school. This parent and caller to the Kelly Contreras Show thinks this will do more harm than good.
It's just going to be like worse than the pandemic in the long run for kids' mental health.
The TDSB's Ryan Bird says he's hoping they can possibly restart those activities next month.
We have to see what the current COVID situation, the Delta variant situation is.
Peel Region's top doctor, meanwhile, is saying no to an extracurricular pause for now. Instead,
we'll consider limiting the number of extracurriculars and sports that they may engage in to, 1 or 2.
Dr. Lowe says we have to recognize a lot of these extracurricular activities can take place outdoors, and with the proper safeguards in place, he adds, they can go ahead safely as part of the overall school experience. Sandy Salerno, Global News.
Senior Canadian and U.S. officials say an estimated 200 foreigners have left Kabul on an international commercial flight. State Department spokesman Ned Price says it's the first large-scale evacuation since U.S. and NATO forces left Afghanistan more than a week ago.
We can confirm that a Qatar Airways charter flight with U.S. citizens, lawful permanent residents on board departed the Hamid Karzai International Airport this morning and recently landed in Doha, Qatar.
Senior government officials say an unknown number of Canadians were on board the flight. A senior U.S. official says that people of other nationalities, including Germans and Hungarians, were on the flight as well. The U.S. federal government is suing Texas over a new state law that bans most abortions. The law prohibits the procedure once medical professionals can detect cardiac activity, which is usually around 6 weeks, or before some women even know they're
So as soon as I hear a heartbeat, that doesn't make sense, bro. There's no computer that says there is or isn't a heartbeat. Why did that?
Under long-standing Supreme Court precedent.
The Justice Department lawsuit asks a federal judge to declare the law invalid. Canada's Layla Fernandez is set to play under the lights at Arthur Ashe Stadium tonight.
10 minutes
the
ago,
19-year-old from
nothing
Laval, Quebec, will take on number 2 seed Ariana Sabalenka of Belarus in the U.S. Open semifinals. Fernandez has already ousted several high-profile athletes from the tournament, including Naomi Osaka of Japan and Germany's Angelique Kerber. Jose.
Constitutional Attorney General Merrick Garland says the Department of Justice is suing the state.
SB 8 bans nearly all abortions in the state after 6 weeks of pregnancy, before many women even know they are pregnant, and months before a pregnancy is viable.
What the fuck is a mango
lawsuit
stick?
filed today in a Texas court asks a federal judge to declare that the law, known as SB 8, is invalid. And political analyst Sarah Isger tells ABC News this could result in an immediate pause on the law.
The first thing will be that a district judge
Meaning
will
what?
rule on this one way or the other.
People will or won't try to arrest you.
A statewide injunction of the law.
SB 8 differs significantly from laws blocked in other states because it leaves enforcement up to private citizens through lawsuits instead of criminal prosecutors. Reporting live, I'm Michelle Mackey.
Yeah, but then civil prosecutors have to get involved. What are you talking about?
Is back this year with more in-person screenings. The fans have been lining up outside the TIFF Lightbox Theater all day. They love having big movies back on the big screens here at TIFF. And even hardcore Toronto cinephiles are looking forward to the return of the guilty pleasure of red carpet stargazing.
Someone's got trampled in.
Good. I don't know what that was. That's horrible. But mangosteen. What is a mangosteen? Not to be confused with mango.
One topic that we discussed with Anthony Fury and Peter Tabbins in the last hour has to do with the notion, and there was disagreement between the two gentlemen.
Really, I didn't say
Ontario
I don't see how that would work.
As a statutory holiday in recognition of truth and reconciliation with our Indigenous.
So we're the original traders, and you can't stop us. Trade is peace. What makes you think we want all of you assholes to get a day off or double time pay to celebrate, one, all the bad things done to our people, and two, the fact that you burned all the fucking evidence and testimony once you were done. There's still nobody talks about that. I got a problem with this. Nobody talks about that. Did they or did they not burn it? It disappeared from the media. You can't find an answer. Where's the testimony? Oh, it would hurt you for us to keep a record of this. So even though we told you we're going to keep it forever, we're going to burn it now because it would hurt you. Because you're the rapist. Tell me, I don't want them to go through that. You know, people that did something to a kid going, I don't want them to go through that when you're talking about bringing them to some type of therapy or something.
Newspaper.
I want to pretend that I never did that.
So there's no vestige of Ryerson or his name contained there in the university itself as being all premised on the fact that Edgerton Ryerson was a racist and was responsible for implementing the residential schools.
No, it was his idea. They used his ideas. He didn't implement them. They used his ideas. Oh, he's an architect. When I said he wasn't an architect, it didn't mean, oh yeah, he was in charge of the whole project. No, he wasn't.
As a matter of fact, he
It was
also
changed the history books again.
wrote an award-winning history of Ryerson University. And Ryerson is history. Let's find out exactly why this is and if it's a correct assessment of the individual and the name of the institution. Ron Stang, good to have you on the Open Show. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me on.
I appreciate you coming on. And I mean, I also applaud your courage. I mean, in the face of what seems to be an overwhelming consensus, certainly at that school, to remove every vestige of Edgerton Ryerson, citing, as I said, racism, the responsibility for setting up the residential school system, and all that.
No, you missed it again. He's bigging him up. He was the architect. He was like the big man. He wasn't. He wrote some shit down on a note, fucking on a napkin in a bar, and they used it. Do you know how many of these politicians spent every day and night in a bar, drunk and high on opium and fucking cocaine? Yes, they did.
Picked this up, did a very small amount of not particularly good research, and decided that, yes, he was guilty. Now, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, when the final report came out, did not say that he was responsible. But people...
They didn't draw any conclusions, you fucking asshole.
University, they put up a plaque saying he was an architect.
Yeah, they celebrated it.
So the media generally...
The people who claim to represent his namesake celebrated it, dumbass.
That he was guilty.
Guilty. Nobody's talking about criminal charges, stupid. You didn't do anything illegal, you fucking retard.
Bigger and bigger and bigger. But in fact, he was a friend.
You're another fucking pedophile.
He worked with the Mississauga of the Credit.
Yeah, that's pretty far away from there.
With them. He was
that ain't here.
Methodist minister.
Oh,
and he was there to, a lot of them had already converted. He was there to minister to them. But he worked in their fields.
West Toronto and Parkland, right. In Brockton.
Farming. He learned their language so he could minister to them. They, in fact, gave him a very great honor.
Which is
they gave him the name of a recently deceased chief in honor of what he was doing.
What are you talking about? That's not an honor amongst any people. What are you talking about?
Working with the indigenous people.
So instead of calling the dead guy medicine man, they called this guy medicine man, right? That's what it was. You're fucking stupid.
To prevent the Mississauga.
The way you make things up to suit your purpose makes me think you're a pedophile. It really does.
Certainly he was no racist.
Certainly he was no racist.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, well, I was going to say, okay, on that premise, he's not a racist. You're saying he was actually simpatico with and a friend to the Mississaugas here in these parts. This notion that, you know, he was really the precursor to cultural genocide, while racism plays a role in all of that. But you're saying it's wrong to blame Edgerton Ryerson for creating residential schools as well. How's
yes.
Contact dermatitis. What the fuck is in the fucking...
All the relations with First Nations were controlled by the British government. This was a colony.
No.
Representative
no.
The British government controlled
no.
And
all relations between the British government and First Nations were between the British government and First Nations. Stupid. You keep fucking trying to re-explain things in circles.
Onto farms. It would save a lot of money. because they had to make treaty payments, and it would allow settlers to get on the land. So in 1846,
putting us on farms would allow you to be farmers. That makes a lot of sense, stupid. He was a drunk and a crackhead.
And said, here's the situation. And most of these people said, yes, that is what we want. We want to learn farming. We want to be able to go on farm because the land that we hunt and fish on is disappearing.
That never happened. That never happened. We've never stopped hunting, fishing, trapping, and gathering on this land. It's never stopped in trading. There's 5 years.
He did.
We've never stopped. Oh, they gave it up because they said they were. This is why I don't think there needs to be their languages, because I'm going to tell you in English what they really say.
If you wanted
You're an idiot. We don't give names to new people. Are you fucking stupid? They're just a rapist.
So it was like going and continuing
I'm going, because everything's about me and the way I see things, and it's all about me being the center of everything, and I think it's like this, and if you don't, you're racist, you stupid Indian.
Totally different. For what happened with the federal government's residential schools.
And by the way, why aren't you calling us Indians? The legal word from your level of government is Indian. You're required to call us Indians, you stupid fucking piece of shit.
It was designed for older students. Religion was part of the curriculum, but it wasn't.
Yeah, like 7 or 8 when we can begin fucking them in the ass, right?
The traces of First Nations culture, as it was in the later system.
Traces.
And the teachers were mostly out of the regular school system. They weren't.
Well, they weren't.
Clergy.
They weren't teachers, you fucking retard. They were fucking whatever you call yourselves in the church.
Had the idea.
Brother and sister that are married to Jesus. How are you all married? That doesn't make no sense.
So they'd be training themselves.
Who's both your brother and your father and your son? No, you're fucking weird.
And in fact, he arranged for his friend, Peter Jones, also known as Sacred Feathers, who was indigenous, arranged for him to take.
Oh, he was also known as. No, that was his real name, stupid. You are fucking stupid. 2 different nations. Your word for us doesn't apply when we weren't born in your country, dumbass. It's called dual nationality.
Twice having served terms as the chair of the Department of History. Setting the record straight, I guess you've done extensive research into this. Obviously, that's your background, and having written the history of Ryerson in 1998. So Edgerton Ryerson then gets maligned historically, as we're seeing. Yet I guess the template that he set for these schools somehow got conflated with the residential schools of later years, for which, of course, there is no forgiveness with all of the atrocities committed by the various
somehow got conflated with. I don't think you understand the meaning of the word conflated. These Indians got confused and think the schools are the same school. It's the same fucking buildings for 150 years. The last one closed in 1998.
I guess we can still call it that in the interim.
Yeah, another fucking homo friend request.
Well, how does that make you feel? I mean, 30 years.
You're supposed to check off email on the fucking. Why are you so fucking stupid?
I'm guessing.
You're waving the pedophile flag.
I have the documents. I'm not the only one that did this. There were a number of historians who got together, all experts in that field.
They're all experts because they studied it without asking the people that were there anything.
So how does that make you feel that this?
They're more experts on our family trees than we are. Remember that. They're telling us what our family trees are.
It's sad, but it's understandable.
It's sad.
Ryerson actually
we killed off all the Indians, so we're sorry. We're sorry we killed you and stole your land. Buddy, I'm here standing on the land. You better beat it, because these boys fucking kill you. Fucking cusky. You know where the fuck you are, eh? You think hanging on the damn floor is gonna fucking change, eh? It ain't. You're gonna get fucking done up on that fucking shit, eh?
And held back people who were.
What happened? The police rolled up and watched Faisal Hussein shoot for 10 minutes. And didn't do anything to stop him, stupid. Those are the same cops that you send to beat up old people and tell them that's not their house, it belongs to the police service. You fucking pig piece of shit. I know this piece of shit. I know all these fucking assholes from the East End. There are just as many sex offenders in the East End as out here. Crooked politicians, crackhead cops, all that shit.
Of the university, seems like he too is.
You got assholes running around out there pretending to be cops, and you say, buddy, I don't give a fuck who you are. You ain't a cop. I'll fucking kill you right now. Make sure you follow all the prohibitions. The what?
At the end of the day, I mean, how do we then set the record straight historically if people are willingly
how do we white guys set the record straight to the story we want? You don't. We're never going to tell your version. You tell your version, we'll tell our version. Since you aren't part of our culture, your version won't matter.
We're angry. We're upset about social injustice.
We're angry. We're upset. No, you're not. The guilty party. Nobody's talking about guilty parties. You dropped the word guilty 18 fucking times. Nobody suggested guilt because he's dead already, stupid. There was no criminal charge at the time that could have been applied. What's he guilty of? Oh, in the Catholic Church. We don't give a fuck about that. He's dead. He ain't coming back. You got white people tearing down his statues. We don't give a fuck, stupid. That's all scrap metal to us. It'll get melted down and turned into bullets that we're going to use to kill moose or some shit.
But we can save the reputation of a man who did an awful lot for Ontario.
No, he didn't. So, what the fuck did he do for Ontario?
I appreciate you coming on. As I say, I applaud your courage as well. Have you gotten blowback for staking out this
What did he do for Ontario?
Not yet. I've been waiting. I've been getting a lot of support.
Because remember, Ontario doesn't even get to double dip into the funds that the feds do. Ontario doesn't have any access to our trust accounts, the Indian Capital Trust accounts. Ontario can't access that. What did this idiot do for Ontario, stupid? You are stupid. You're drunk, too. He's drunk. He's incredibly drunk. I've got the Smart Serve card. I would not serve this guy. If he tried to get into a car, I would break his fucking nose.
So it's going to take a while.
We're going to drive, but there's going to be blood spraying everywhere. Everybody will know you're fucking drunk. You know you're bleeding from the nose? Oh, fuck, you're drunk. Here, give me those.
Basically, I think they're going to ignore me at this point.
Yeah, because you're a lying, drunken sex offender, stupid.
Well, certainly not in these quarters. I appreciate that. You know, we're always trying to arrive at some modicum of truth here, despite, you know, what the prevailing or received wisdom is all about. I guess that's politically incorrect to do. But continue to fight the good fight. I appreciate you coming on today and explaining where you're coming from.
Okay, well, thank you very much for having me.
Yep. Maybe we'll update down the road. Ron Stagg, professor of history at Ryerson for 30 years, twice serving as
Which one is this? Yeah, oh, he's a professor there. Okay, one's a professor, the other one's Peter Tab. How many fucking assholes you got on today, bro?
Accused of trying to erase indigenous
Hey, can you bring back the Attorney General, the Michael Bryant? Bring him on the air again. Bring Michael Bryant on the air again, bro. He's done it. These guys have done it.
For the province of Ontario in regards to truth and reconciliation. One of the topics worthy of discussion coming our way in just a moment.
See, all these politicians and old school people that think they run everything really believe that if their voice gets on the radio, that's rote. No, it's not. First of all, it's verbal, you moron.
You want some fun if you're traveling to westbound.
Well, that was useless. Why do you have guys doing audio reports from helicopters? Are you fucking stupid? You're on AM. It's the same fucking frequency as the white noise. We cannot hear shit. It's like out of phase perfectly. Mangoes were popularized in China during the Cultural Revolution as symbols of Chairman Mao Zedong's love for the people. Interesting. I'm not getting any answers here about my fucking mangoes. He was an architect. No, he wasn't, buddy. He gave us a suggestion how it could be done. He was an architect. He had no connection to the later schools, which were the same fucking schools. They were the same places. It's no different than how there are 56 privately owned children's aid societies in Ontario. By law, the government of Ontario must fund them. And there's no oversight. There's literally no oversight written into the law. The government has no right to oversee the children's aid societies. They're completely self-regulating. And they are a derivative of the Humane Society. Yes, they are. There's a photograph in the lobby of the Toronto Humane Society, which got taken over by the OSPCA because they're cruel to animals. Then the OSPCA got their policing powers taken away because they're abusing their powers. All right, okay, because they're all stealing animals for some reason. The real expensive ones, they're always stealing. And killing animals for some reason. Fuck, this is ridiculous. So the OSPCA took over in the Humane Society. There is a photograph, 1908 Canadian National Exhibition. There's like a stand, like different rows. There's a bunch of dogs and kids, and it says Humane and Children's Aid Society, singular. Humane and Children's Aid Society. Under the law, you could effectively your kids are your property here in Canada. You don't have to like that, but you'll notice certain types of people will never comment on that, no matter how many times it's said. They do right. Other people say, no, they're humans, they're people. Okay, fine. You can make that argument. You can even make that argument within the framework of the law. You say, well, it says this and this and this, so I think they're people. Okay, I agree, sort of. Look at what the law effectively says and does in regards to kids here. They're required to do whatever you say, even making money. The government can't touch that money. You're entitled to all of it. Oh, damn. Wait a second. Did I not just say property? And you don't have to give them minimum wage. Is that legal? What were we just talking about? The laws regarding children, not employment. The employment laws are very new. And up until like 1998, the laws for hurting animals were stronger than the laws for hurting kids. We're going to start using the fact that they abused an animal, which is a harsher sentence, as an enhancement on the lesser charge of abusing people. So you're going to drop the charge that can get them 2 years, and then but use it as an enhancement to get them 6 months. Wow, you're geniuses.
Choose from our huge selection of in-stock leather and fabrics.
And maybe a few more arms, and they're off to the races. I believe there's sweeping the Yankees would be huge in the Bronx. Boston, well, they won last night, eked one out, but nonetheless, I think they're going to reel these teams in. Honest to God, I do. And they've still got some softies, and this is where they can't give up the ghost and lose to places like Baltimore. But when we talk about history, let me tell you, on this date, very, very
He's just using these white people euphemisms they use all the time when they're drunk playing cards. You don't know how many thousands of these games I've watched.
Appeared on the
You're
inside
like the ghost. Famous last man.
1956. Now, he already made television appearances on, like, the Steve Allen
He's going to try to associate himself with cool things from the past because he's old. It doesn't work that way, bro.
Steve Allen was very,
he's nobody.
I think disrespectful.
He's nobody.
Tonight, Tom Brady and the reigning championship Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 9-point favorites over the Dallas Cowboys.
So what? You just gave us the gambling odds, even though it's illegal for us to gamble. But you won't call yourself a financial advisor. That's interesting because you're advising all day on finances. You're telling us things that aren't even fucking true constantly. It works like this and that because I think so. I made it up in my head. The U.S. dollar stopped trading on Friday at the end of business at this price, and it's 3 days later, and it is about to start trading again.
Je vais revenir à la place du français. Ce qui a retenu mon attention, ça ne surprendra pas personne, mais Erin O'Toole puis Madame Paul sont français pas formidables. C'est quelque chose que j'aimerais ça, moi, que notre premier ministre soit assez francophone pour s'exprimer vraiment avec aisance dans les deux langues. Et je trouve ça difficile qu'on pourrait être représenté à Ottawa par quelqu'un qui ne maîtrise pas le français. Et surtout parce que ça va être plus difficile ensuite de les convaincre à quel point le français est important dans le pays.
Hey, but you're not talking about the fact that all the people on this radio station that write articles for the website and all the other French ministers, they're using English speakers using Google Translate. And they don't know that the sentences are coming out wrong. How about all the federal MPs who are required to be bilingual to get their certain jobs that they have, that aren't bilingual, and they get the second paycheck anyway, but they don't hire a francophone. Anglophones are allowed to hold bilingual positions, but francophones are not.
Je suis pas un fan de M. Blanchet, par contre, j'ai trouvé qu'il s'est très, très bien débrouillé. Si j'avais à dire que quelqu'un m'a impressionné hier soir, c'est M. Blanchet. M. Blanchet m'a impressionné, même si c'est pas... Je suis pas quelqu'un qui voterait pour lui, même si j'étais au Québec. Par contre, je dois vous dire qu'il m'a impressionné beaucoup. Ce qui m'a
this is not the same stuff you gave me
là
before.
où j'ai trouvé qu'il y a eu plus des perdants, on a parlé d'Annemie Paul. J'ai l'impression qu'elle, avec son niveau de français, je suis d'accord avec toi, Elise, j'ai l'impression que ça l'a vraiment nuit. J'ai l'impression qu'elle lisait un script. J'avais l'impression qu'elle regardait sa page toujours. Pour M. Autour, c'était pas si mal, ça s'est bien débrouillé. Je crois qu'il y a eu quand même des certains accros importants. Je suis québécois de M. Trudeau, où le ton s'est élevé. C'est quelque chose que j'ai retenu beaucoup, un peu comme si on osait dire que M. Trudeau se foutait un peu du Québec. Je crois que c'est une partie importante. Si j'ai à trouver des gagnants au débat, je ne trouve pas facilement gagnant. Par contre, je trouve des points qui sont un peu des perdants. Aux côtés des conservateurs, je crois que le fameux portefeuille carbone leur nuit tout simplement parce que c'était pas clair. C'était pas clair pendant le débat quand les autres candidats ont emporté sur le sujet. Le portefeuille carbone que les conservateurs proposent, oh boy, c'était tellement pas structuré que j'ai l'impression que ça les a mis très tellement. Et la réduction, où je vous dirais,
I wanted to read the thing about mangoes for you.
Frais garderie. Ça, je crois que ça a nuit énormément aux conservateurs parce que ça a seulement sorti sur la table comme ça, sans explication. Alors, c'est des moments, moi, je dirais, qui étaient forts parce que ça valait beaucoup de points pour les opposants.
Just like I'm in a kitchen or something. I'm a cook. I'm a diner. That's what I am. I dine.
En passant, qu'il y a eu tous ces journalistes-là, un après l'autre, qui sont venus poser les questions de leur façon et que chacun avait un peu leur façon de modérer. J'ai bien aimé. Je vois pas de grands gagnants. Je peux voir des gens qui ne sont pas démarqués beaucoup. Alors, Mme Paul, c'était pas impressionnant. Pas du tout.
Et on va terminer avec vous, Chris. Qu'est-ce qui a particulièrement retenu votre attention lors de ce débat?
Moi, je suis parmi ceux qui ont juste regardé le récapitulatif. Mon Dieu, je suis en train de m'enferger dans mes mots, désolé. Mais ouais, c'était particulier aussi de voir quels éléments ont été choisis dans ces recaps, que ce soit par Global News ou Radio-Canada. Le moment qui a déjà été mentionné entre François Blanchet et Justin Trudeau, qui a mené à « Je suis un Québécois » était assez particulier. On peut s'attendre un petit peu à ce grandstanding d'identité. Mais bon, c'est quelque chose. Et sinon, pour la question de l'espèce de portefeuille carbone, c'est quand même assez particulier de voir la position des conservateurs changer à travers le temps et de passer d'une position où on ignore la notion qu'il y a des problèmes avec les changements climatiques à bon, il y a une taxe carbone qui existe, mais on n'est pas vraiment d'accord avec le mécanisme, même si
injuries in the fall. You'll be dealing with volume 9 of the for James to the 4.
Ringo or Keith Moon with The Who or John Bonham with Led Zeppelin. Bingo, a light went off in their heads. And I'm sure maybe something similar happened to you, if not necessarily in music. It could be in theater, maybe wanting to pursue a career in film. But look, at the end of the day, we all want to run away and join the circus, right?
This title. Is that
That's what radio's about. And so, thus endeth the lesson. We've got our panel standing by. Topics worthy of discussion, awaiting moments away. It's David Wills and Stephen Holliday, the Deputy Mayor, next on the Oprah Show. Global News Radio, 640 Toronto.
Is Mayor Tory dead or what?
Global News Radio, 640 Toronto. Hi, this is John Oakley.
No days off. We use that line in songs and shit from this city. No days off. The only way you get a day off as mayor in this city, you better fucking be dead. Or possibly in drug rehab by order of the courts, or, you know, like I could go to work virtually, but I got the bracelet thing on my leg. I can't leave the house. That's like the only way you're getting a day off. And we'll still put your ass to work. Where's John Tory? How's he using his deputy thing? What do you mean deputy? So there was a shooting. And they're not telling us shit. And by the time, like, so tonight, later on, by the time they would start giving us information, they won't. They'll just be like, it's a few hours ago. We don't care. Like, tell us about the last shooting. It was a while ago. Oops, what button I just pressed? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I'm gonna try that. Why I'm bothering with the SoundCloud. I'm gonna be angry with the SoundCloud thing. I guarantee I'm gonna get more upset somehow. So I got a mango thing going on there, I guess. I'll bring that over here for a second. I'm pretty sure it's a mango. Might not be. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Don't worry, we'll tune back in. And if we stick online long enough, we'll check CRI and everything else. We will. I know I'm yelling bullshit. Don't worry. I'm not going to sit outside the guy's house with a bunch of guys going, "You're fucking wrong, eh?" But I'm going to yell it here because I can do that. It's not affected. He ain't watching. If he's watching, it's all dumb fault for watching the reaction video to his own show, right? Right? Don't watch.
Two-door sport in the coop, playing these greasy loops. After every time I shoot, that ski master know what to claim. Still running that nation of domination for Rook. P89 and the barrel slide is too cute. Hit up in the dome when he tried ducking. Still better than just standing there and trying nothing. Kill them little puffs, I'm a G-Dog. I have him in the streets playing leapfrog. American muscle over a Tesla. Pulling out the bulldog is burnt like a Presla. Let me tell you how I feel. You niggas ain't real. That shot ain't your food like a meal. Let me tell you how I feel. You niggas ain't real. That shot ain't your food like a meal. Hold on, let me get some pimpin'. Fuck you think you do it. I pull up in a Buick, blasting this music. You know how we do it. Yeah. Like Montel Jordan and these Jordans. All these bitches is swarming. And still I ignore them. Yeah. Cause all these girls boring. Yeah. Anytime I come through, making girls get abortions. It's Charlie, you know me. Rolling in a Harley with Shorty. I just hope you got the 40. 20 niggas in dark clothing, that's what we learned. Yeah. You should hear the arrogance these niggas were calling. Yeah. And that bitch was on car. Before Asian or Dream, we had a Apache dog. Fuck them all, middle fingers for law. We ain't with the blase blah. Hopping out of a car. Always asking what's up with the top. Pastor Price has police, what's up with the job? Another body, just another day. You acting like you ain't even know the word was underway. That's when we hit you from a blind side. Sitting in the jail and even thinking how the time flies. Let me.
Oh, do I have that link to that naturally? No, I don't. I don't know where the fuck that is. That's I think I do. Fuck it. Actually,
Tell you how I feel. You niggas ain't real. That shot ain't your food like a meal. Let me tell you how I feel. You niggas ain't real. That shot ain't your food like a meal. I know the guy never finished the game.
12 and up are fully vaccinated in our house, and that was,
the ones in our house are fully vaccinated. What is fully vaccinated? Stupid. Oh, half measures don't work. That's why you need 2 half doses.
Okay, and you're cool with the masks, though, the mandates for the kids?
Why you put 5 in a bottle?
Absolutely. I think that they're safer, and they keep
How
others
stupid it is.
safe.
You're not saving any weight at all by having 6 syringes and a bottle.
They seem to comply with these sorts of things. They see it as part of the school day, and they are good with it, and so am I.
Seem to comply.
All right. Hey, by the way, John Tory, the mayor,
they seem to comply.
He says we can try to
That's
get
just crazy.
to a 90%
Comply.
vaccination rate in Toronto.
My property complies.
Well, I always want to be an
Your
optimist.
offspring
I mean, if you
versus
look
my
at the
offspring.
numbers,
I think mine are brought
330,000 people to go, which is a little over 10% of the population. But you know what? Pointing out that it is an achievable goal means it is an achievable goal. We just need
Pointing out that it's an achievable goal means it is an achievable goal.
By the way, all right, David, well, let me get you in on that question too. I mean, look, the yardsticks have moved on this thing, or the goalposts. Now we're looking at 90%
Are you
as sort of the threshold for feeling good about ourselves, I guess.
I almost didn't
else.
get there.
Do you believe that we can actually get there? The hesitancy,
By the way, Canada, we have
tells
meter
me,
sticks,
we're sort of
dumbass.
plateauing. It's almost about 20-25%. What do you say?
Yeah, that's a yard, that's a meter. That's a yard, that's a meter. That's a yard, that's a
if we
meter.
bring out the stick, and I think, you know, by the stick, I mean the vaccine passports.
Oh, that's the stick. Because if the vaccine passport exists, that's not the stick, dumbass. The punishment after that would be the threat.
And I think we keep on with the education. I don't think
the stick versus the carrot means a threat. You hit the fucking animal with a stick, stupid. You hear what this guy just said? You're giving the stick with the vaccine passport. The vaccine passport is intended not to facilitate your life, but to be a form of punishment and control. He just said it. We're going to give you more of the stick in the form of the passport.
And the longer we wait, the harder it's going to be. John, I want to get in on that because I think there's still people that can move over to the other side of the line. Yes, there is a chunk of people still to go, almost, getting close to 20%. But if you look closely at the studies, and the city publishes them, you'll find out that within that, it's only 6%, only 6, that are a hard no with respect to vaccine. There's another 8%, I think it is, that are they're kind of a maybe no. And then the plethora of a whole other reasons that I'd like to think of as barriers that can be overcome. So, with the right amount of work, you can bring more people over.
Well, the hardcore resistance, okay, you're saying it's only 6%. Let me ask you by way of an example. We were supposed to have a guest on earlier today from Western University's Huron College.
And you just don't.
She's an ethics prof who's made the news because she's resistant getting vaccinated or even wearing masks.
They tried giving us all this crap about the Huron at a certain grade in school. Like, that was all there was about Native. The Huron are like this and like that. No one else exists.
Of her story, she didn't come on with us, but
you're here, so you need to learn about them. No, I don't. I know about them. Can I learn about me, please? You don't exist.
Able to avoid getting vaccinated. So last I heard, she's suspended with pay. David Wills, is there room in this equation for any conscientious?
That means they know they can't fire her.
There can be, but she doesn't get the full benefits of being in a classroom with students. She can't put others at risk. There are online teaching opportunities. I've got 2 kids that are that have gone off to university. One, almost all of his stuff is back online because of people like this. I think that if she doesn't want to get the vaccine, she can choose that, but she doesn't get to be in a classroom with my kid or with other kids or on campus with other people. And I think that has to be the rule. She may not, she doesn't have to lose her job, but she doesn't get all the opportunities that are there. She's going to have to take what's available, and that's going to be completely doing remote teaching.
She's going to have to take what's available. Are you stupid? They need teachers like crazy right now.
And I'm surprised at that because how long is it till the next professor that comes along and says, I have an objection and I'd like to sit at home and get paid?
How long is it till the next professor that comes along?
I wanted to say, I take the point about the
I'm saying till the next professor comes along. Till the next professor that comes along. Yeah, they have to add words to emphasize more.
Threatening somebody and coercing them to do something under threat of their job versus making a workplace or a classroom safe. And those are 2 entirely different arguments. And provided that the employers are dealing with the latter, setting up a safe space and doing something that needs to be done to keep the other workers safe and the students in the room, I think there's merit in all of this discussion.
All right, but you guys are pretty much on the same page as far as that's concerned, and I guess that's your own personal ethics versus hers, where she teaches, and it's seemingly run afoul of the vaccine and mask mandates at her school, her employer. I'll leave it for now because
the mandates mandated by who?
Swing vote of 6%.
You know what the term mandate means? It usually means something that an organization must do or abide by according to the laws that incorporated that organization.
or tribes.
It doesn't just mean so now I want you to do it. So it's a mandate. No, it's not. When you refer to it as a mandate in that case, it's not denigrating, but what's the word?
There was something that came out. I guess we'd file this under blackboard stuff. You know, in sports, they call this the kind of thing that does motivate teams. They pin it up on the blackboard. It was from a Liberal MP, a candidate anyway, running in, I believe it's New Brunswick, on the housing. The housing file is a big one. I'm hearing even door knockers are saying affordable housing or the housing costs have gone out of the realm of most people. Now, here's this clip. Give a listen to it, and we'll get you to comment on whether or not this is the cat coming out of the bag or the guy might have misspoke. Roll tape.
Lots of tax incentives for first homeowners. If you're under 40, you can save tax-free up to $40,000. So, you know, that's something that we will. And when you put that money in, it's tax-free. When you take that money out, it's tax-free. But of course,
I could be wrong, but I think this big thing here is a mango. I'm gonna find out.
You do make money on that, so unfortunately, you
a
will have to
baby
pay tax
version
on
of it.
that.
We'll see. And these are peppers, of course.
No, I wouldn't agree to that either, but it's what we have to do.
All right, anybody selling the primary residence will have to pay tax. You're the PR guy here, David Wells. How do you stanch the bleeding on this one? How would you spin it?
Well, I think listening to that guy, especially my favorite part is when he went, which means he's trying to figure out what it is. I know more about the Liberal housing platform than that guy does, and I'm not voting Liberal, and he's running for the Liberals. I think he just doesn't know what he's talking about, and he did some damage because there is a big fear. That's something that homeowners, anyway, those of us who own a home, hold pretty dear, is that primary residence tax exemption. You factored it in. I don't think it's part of their platform. I think he didn't know what he's talking about. But I think it just goes to show that that Liberal campaign is a mess. Their candidates should be way better prepared than that.
Well, it's not the first time. If you remember your former colleague there, Mr. Holiday, was Adam Vaughan, and he sort of floated the idea too that there'd be a tax on principal residences. You think that the Liberals are playing with fire here, or maybe risk touching a third rail?
Well, the old saying goes, Liberals and taxes are never far apart. Look, I'll concede what David said. I don't think it's formally in their platform, but I think politicians of many stripes are always thinking about new ways to bring in a tax. And I put a circle around something like an estate tax or a house sale tax or something after you die, or transfer. And the reason is those are the kind of taxes that creep up once in a while in life, and they nail you hard. And it's like the municipal land transfer tax. People dislike it for so many reasons, but among them with me, I'm a tax purist, is it hides all the government spending and it lumps it in once in a while. Politicians love it because it's not front and center. But if you add in the municipal land transfer tax to our property tax in Toronto, you find out we got pretty high tax rates here because of those kinds of things. So, I would be on guard with any of the platforms that talk about these kind of taxes, especially the Liberal one, because my suspicion is, and this is again personal, is that they go for those type of taxes where they're not front and center like your income tax.
Well, all right, there you go. And you forgot to mention development fees in there as well, land transfer tax. This is why housing affordability has gone through the roof as well. A place like Toronto, because of all these attached hidden fees, so to speak. We'll come back to more topics worthy of discussion with our panel. David Wills, Senior VP Media Profile, it's the leading Toronto Public Relations Agency. Stephen Holiday, Deputy Mayor and Councillor for Ward 2. 14 before the top of the hour. Let's head back up to the roads right now and check a chopper traffic. Ari Rabinovich.
And John on the East 401 at Crawls, approaching the 427 to the 400 Express. That's where a crash is blocking the right lane. Try to stay with the collectors. It's also slow though, so just keep that in mind. And we're triple free on the rest of them.
Montoya also said Jordan Romano will not be available after pitching yet.
À être dans une démocratie où tout le monde peut s'exprimer, que ce soit en ligne ou que ce vocal aux gens qu'on met au pouvoir, de faire quelque chose d'aussi barbarique qu'envoyer des roches sur un lieu de
Shredded by the G-Town, trains going eastbound. They used to talk about all these niggas, they know it's me now.
The land transfer tax is provincial. The property taxes are municipal. Yeah, so the land transfer tax is not the property. It's not a part of your property taxes. If we're using the same words that are used when we're talking about these things, and if we're not, you're just arbitrarily making noises with your fucking mouth. Not even your mouth, but your throat, really, because you're not beatboxing. You're like gargling back here against some fucking muscle tissue, some tendons that ain't attached to nothing or something.
Package get cop supported, that's how we rebound.
These people yell at deaf people for not learning how to read lips while they're wearing a mask. But they don't, and they talk about us as being like less worthy and shit. Remember, I will not get the ICU bed because it says sickle cell. Oh, he's black. Fuck him. Remember that. Because I tell them I have sickle cell, they'll do that. But they won't do any fucking healthcare related shit in regards to me, in regards to it. I do believe I need genetic sequencing. And I need a proper blood test. What are they doing at this fucking family medicine center at St. Joseph's? Sending me back for more blood tests that are not for the thing I need to get tested for. Right. And treating me like I'm stupid for pointing out that I can see that. Okay. So, and if you're not going to do that, there's literally nothing you can do. Because the two things you're told, the painkillers, whatever the fuck I tell you works, and hydroxyurea. Those are the only two things you can do. Oh, I'm sure there's a whole bunch of other things that doctors that give a fuck could do. But those are the only two things. Like, there's no testing to do or not. You just hand me those if you don't want to do anything else. If you do, you send me somewhere where they're going to test my blood for something. You need to check your hemoglobin. Do you even know what the fuck you're looking for? I got bad hemoglobin. We know that. I need to know how much. Like, not the numbers you're going to see in my blood. I need to know my genetic sequencing. Or I don't need to know at all. I need to know my viral load. I need to be tested for about a dozen different viruses to see if I got them. That's complicated. They don't run a test and come back. It's got this, this, and this. You got to test specifically for each one, generally speaking.
F14 chickens brony. AR Paisley trip.
H1N1, H5N7, H7N9, parvovirus B19. So those first three are influenzas. Parvovirus B19. Fuck, what was the other one? I know we just did hepatitis C and HIV. Were you vaccinated for Hep B? Oh, we'll just check that off then, because it's impossible for you to get hepatitis B now. No, it's not. It's not how it works, eh? But at the very least, that one's been studied longer. There's been no groups of people popping up with hepatitis B, all right? Did they vaccinate the whole world? No, they started with children 25 years ago. They literally don't have to do it anymore if they don't want to, because all you disgusting people died off. I don't know how you got that shit. I don't know how hepatitis C and hepatitis A spread. Dirty people. I can only imagine hepatitis B spread the same way. I have no idea. It must have been pretty bad because they came up with a vaccine for it. So you must have been spreading it everywhere. They're like, fuck, this virus is everywhere. We should probably make a vaccine pretty easy. Because you need the virus to reproduce easy enough outside of the human body in order to make it. Let's not talk about
Wires be the hardest up in these streets now. You best not trespass here, baby, just keep out. We ain't fucking around with the steering if we gon' wheel out. You ain't got the medical, nigga, that's when that skill out. Big clock, big shot, knock him out and get teeth out. By now you know they all got heat. They got no bars, but all got beats. Trap music.
So it's very difficult to see, but the one at the bottom's
I'm the fucking king of the city.
rotating
That's
this way.
just the way I get it. I'm the king of the dot. You know what I'm saying?
Wanna call out my name? It's not an easy road, it's like Buju. My girlfriend Cuckoo, one camera Juju. Baby, I was paid in bullets like Lulu. You do not do you, dopey them like voodoo. Never see what we look and defend it. They had to get the strap, just open Bristol, get patted. I feel offended. We don't feel your pendant. With them poor thinkers up, we don't feel the tension. Niggas rapping about Mario Bros. You Louis to the most, doing the most. My dopey trap turn up water with close. Niggas are boss like Gas King, kinda guess I'm a cutthroat. There's no floats around it, it's funny that we don't run shows. I'm over any day like we can run a fair. Right now, you know that we ain't fucking playing. There was king of the city, I made a move, now it's checkmate. You can't escape.
Shit, I got a bunch of books. I should read something for one of these, make this fucking educational.
Yes, out in the county with a 40 in front. They can't battle, I'm in the valley. Had his blood leak, his favorite color rock for a title. You can own that bitch like Jay-Z, we making it viral. I'm raising a rifle, fiends gon' drop you. That's for a real on spoons. When I hear your tunes like, I just picture Sailor Moons. Niggas call my name out like they don't even care to lose. I can picture Price of Pot's face when he hear the news. Boy, I'm the crash face triplet, that's when I'm near the room. I set up with a gold hard, you know it's what I came to do. I bought extenders and extra clips, it's no shots.
I can't line that up right because it's so bright on the one side. There we go.
It's an easy road, it's like Buju. My girlfriend Cuckoo, one camera Juju. Baby, I was paid in full, it's like Lulu. You do not do you, dopey them like voodoo. It's not an easy road, it's like Buju. My girlfriend Cuckoo, one camera Juju. Baby, I was paid in full, it's like Lulu. You do not do you, dopey them like voodoo. Man said I didn't want no smoke, you know I want that. I'm on that, I'm with that lyrical wine or combat. I've been killing rappers with or without a
But hey, at least you can see it without bothering me. Behind my arm, right on the window. Time? Right here.
No need to get it, copy your 50 cents.
Sorry, I gotta go.
I'm battling a Dixie chick. Stop playing, you know I'm more riding 50 press. They let us cut it till it's gushing out. Niggas like through the teeth until we jump them up. They wanna keep it on wax before we light the street. It is time to respond, you better stay on beat. I see man a goodie, gang on these niggas. On the same shot, like try know she's passing you niggas. So get that flame splash, you pass up the master you niggas. He's
So, if you're wondering why I like never wear anything on my left wrist, except for that Timex I had before with the expandable band, the T2N404, I believe it was. The Timex Indiglo Gentleman's Original, Timex Gentleman's Original Indiglo, whatever. That one did not hurt my wrist. Everything else hurts my wrist. I broke my wrist when I was like 9 or 10, I think 9, some shit. And I saw a guy drink bleach to kill himself. Oh yeah, I'm a child witness to suicide. Anyway, you go, oh, I get it. That's why you wear it on this side. Yes, but I was doing this when I was like 4 or 5 years old with the first watch or watches ever had. I remember specifically $1 corner store watch. It was a digital watch. That was jungle camo green. It had a light, but the light was a little miniature incandescent bulb. They make these for circuit boards and shit, like miniature incandescent bulb. This the same as well, not that. The tungsten light coming on me here. Then I had a swatch that you pop into the t-shirt. There's a ring that you can pop off the watch. There's no band. You pop the ring off the watch, put the ring on the inside of your shirt, watch on the outside, pop, and it sticks, or whatever clothing. That's an interesting concept. They must have been relatively cheap. I forget. I think they were like $20 or so. $20, $40, $20. They weren't incredibly expensive. They were meant for kids. Mine was transparent, and I may have had 2 of them. I don't remember. There's been a few watches come my way. So way back when, before I broke this wrist, I was wearing it on this side, and I don't remember about putting it on the inside. Somehow I just kept fucking around until I had it the way I wanted it. I believe I was wearing it on the inside, but at first everybody noticed because it was the 80s. So my mother was a strong, hard-working single woman. Busted that glass ceiling. Sort of. But you know, they're like, oh, some people are like, oh, are you left-handed? They're like, I'm a little kid. Like, are you left-handed? I'm like, no. And I knew left and right hand. And my mom's like, you're right-handed. Why do you have it on that hand? It's like, because I'm right-handed, I think is what I said. I couldn't. Well, you're supposed to put it on the opposite hand of which hand you are. Like, the fuck? Really? Because left-handed people are almost forced to fit in, so they'll wear it on the left side too. If they don't want people to notice. I don't know. But Wild Bill, on G.I. Joe from 1985. So I guess that's the 1983 series. I don't know. I thought it was an 83 and an 87 or 89, but the episodes all say 85. Wild Bill was his watch on the outside like this, and I'm pretty sure it's right. Yeah, it should be right side up. Why wouldn't it be? I'm a little fucked up here. Wears his watch like this. I know he's a cartoon character, but it's very interesting. On the right hand, he's right-handed. And I know this because these little details play. They animated every little detail back in the day on some of these cartoons. These days, you get some scribbling and stuff. And I get it. It's artistic. I don't care if you like it. That's what you want to watch. It's great. Why put in more work than what people want? Okay. And I know they're not drawing on, cellulose film and shit anymore. I know. But in any event, the character. So remember, somebody had to think this out. And there were 2 educational advisors on that fucking show. Okay. He takes his gun, completely breaks all the safety rules, and throws it up in the air. And says, hey, we got 2 minutes left, eh? Catches the gun. That means he's right-handed. Or possibly ambidextrous, I suppose. But that means he's right-handed. Okay? I can't remember if he's got 2 guns. He's Wild Bill. With a name like that, he's got to have 2 guns. But he was playing with the right hand. Suggests he's right-handed. He had it on the outside with the right hand. Why is it on the outside? He doesn't need to look at it all the time. He can give a fuck, I'm guessing. You want to know the gas prices? So, yeah, like anything, I broke this wrist. If you're rollerblading and you're about to fall, as a person, you go, oh, I'm going to stop myself from falling. The problem is we extend fully, okay, and then the shock wave goes up to here. This straight member is what you would call it on a person or a frame made of steel or something. Won't absorb a lot of force. It'll transmit it, but it doesn't transmit it here. It transmits it here, and then it breaks. It doesn't go any further. Look, what you got to do if you're going to fall, if you don't have the wrist guards, elbow guards, all that, got to do is roll up like this. If you're about to fall, roll up and roll with it like you're gonna roll out of control, like you just fell out of a plane. I guess I didn't know that. Never thought of it. Doctor told me. So, that's good to know. Maybe I won't come back here again. That's more useful than saying, don't rollerblade. That never did break it again. Then I don't think I broke any other bones in my body ever. I don't think so. Watch, I just cursed myself. I'm not even sure. So no. You know what? I think I broke my pinky once. Did it hurt like a bat? Oh yeah. I'm pretty sure I broke it. And what I did, I'm sure this is very common. I was swinging my foot forwards as though there was nothing in front of it. That's the common element. I thought my foot had freedom to just go take a step, and there was a wall that my toe hit. Yeah, pretty sure I broke it. Oh, that was bad. What I did know is there's fuck all they're going to do for me at a hospital or anything else, and it's of little consequence. It'll probably heal straight. If it does, as long as you still have the toe, you should be good, right? They're not going to tell us about the shooting. Oh, they're not going to give us nothing on the other news update either. Hold on. So, because so many different ways to do shit here. I could use this over Wi-Fi, or I guess cellular data. We'll use this over Wi-Fi, one of the Wi-Fis, or this Wi-Fi repeater. Can I program that with multiple networks, and then if I take it to different places, it'll work? Do I got to reprogram it? It'll only take one. Anyway, I'm going to use the patch cord to go from here. I got like 3 or 4 of them to go from here to that boombox. Oh, I got to plug that in somewhere. Hold on. This was a good idea when it started. The next time I get that plugged into something, I'm having serious electrical problems in here. I'm going to program into the presets. There are 8 channels. So channels 1 through 7 on FRS. You can transmit 2 watts with an FRS. You can transmit 5 watts with, I might be totally wrong, but it's what I wrote down. 5 watts with the GMRS if you got the license. And I don't know if we even need a license in Canada. I'm not sure how that works. Channels 8 through 14, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, that's 7, are 500 milliwatts, whether it's an FRS or GMRS radios, and it's supposedly also just for the handhelds, which is not a whole lot of use if I'm trying to pick up. What I want to pick up is these work crews over here. I'm not sure what they'd be using, but I think I stand a better chance of picking up the work crews on the other channels because it's, again, only 2 watts for FRS, but it's 50 for GMRS. I'm thinking out loud too much, but that's. If you're just tuning in, you better catch up. Bro, Kenya. Okay, so I posted a link somewhere, but there's a channel called Africa 24, which is in French. But if you do type it in and go to it, you will find other channels that are in English. They're like Africa News English, Africa News French. There's literally two. It's the exact same video, but it's one's French, one's English. Kenya. Just oh fuck, there's a few things, but Guinea's had a military coup, but they're telling the Chinese to keep exporting the bauxite or whatever they get out of there. Kenya is mandating vaccines, not for work, just to go to the market, meaning the store, the grocery store, the supermarket, just to go out at all to businesses of whatever. You must have the vaccine, and people are flipping the fuck out. Because it's Africa, and they know if they don't flip out, something bad's going to happen. There's just so... I guess if you just tuned in, I might as well tell you. We've just been listening to... They were supposed to... I'm a little pissed off at these people. When I start cussing and yelling, remember, sometimes it's because they're completely changed the program. They were supposed to have a professor on who is claiming to be a conscientious objector, but they're also claiming that this woman is refusing to wear a mask in class, which I find strange, because I think they can just kick her out of her workplace for that. Wear some type of face covering, please. Pick one that suits you. But she's refusing to get vaccinated on ethical grounds. She's an ethics professor. Okay, so this kid, hey, wait a second, we better. This is the one case you have to take serious. They suspended her with pay, which is very telling because that's like they can't fire her, can they? Or they would have, right? They would have just. She's refusing to get the vaccine, and then when the time comes up for her to come on, they're like, "Oh, well, she's not going to be on. We can't get a hold of her." You can't get a hold of her. Are you sure about that? Are you purposely dialing the wrong number? And then they had other people talking about her. It's like, oh, so that's all in this video if you really want. Oh, it's the John Oakley show. Actually, if you want a better copy of it, I believe if you go to whatever the fucking. It's 6:40 a.m., but I forget the proper name of the station. It used to be News Talk, and now it's not. It's not called something else, Global News or something. 6:40 a.m. Toronto, John Oakley. And there's a few of his episodes I think people should listen to. And a few of the other shows on this station they should listen to. Like the vaccinologist telling us about the risk to children is like higher than COVID from the vaccine. Is from oh, you're in Windsor on this side of the border, right? Oh shit, you're dealing with okay, so in Toronto we get people from all over the fucking world, but they come in by plane, they come in by train, boat, whatever the fuck. You deal on a day-to-day basis with people crossing the border. And so Americans are now allowed to cross. Are the Americans crossing into Canada right now as long as they're vaccinated? Are there like people driving across the border every 2 seconds like it used to be? I'm gonna I know what I'm gonna do.
CD News.
So things get off to a rocky start for students in York region on day one due to a lack of school bus drivers. Nancy Daniel, executive director of School Bus Ontario, says we're close to 200
so this
bus
is
delays in
on
some students were forced to wait between 30
yeah,
and
you already
90
know.
minutes for a ride. She blames the driver shortage on the province.
What's happened, there are a couple of things that have come together to create this perfect storm. The first one is the way they award contracts, where they award contracts to the lowest possible bidder. And when that happens, driver wages get suppressed. And then, the drivers...
What's that street sweeper contract link? I need that right now. What is that link?
And the problem isn't just in New York region. Areas like Hamilton, Peterborough, and Ottawa are facing the same issues.
This is 680 News. If you've been on the roads today, you may have noticed you're not alone. Traffic appears to be close to pre-pandemic levels, so Toronto Police Services is
what do you think all these... Now,
Here's 680's Moment Koreshi.
What do you think all these... So you know, around in Ontario, the school buses, they market the job when they're looking for school bus drivers to retired people, quite frankly, because they're old people that they're going to know how to handle kids. If they've been driving a long time. They probably got decent insurance, and they can work these oddball hours and get by. All these old people have been either getting sick and dying or staying inside their fucking house so they don't get sick and fucking dying. Yeah, the unvaxxed. They're calling anybody with one dose unvaccinated. Anybody that's unknown is unvaccinated. And if you got 2 doses, but your second dose was less than the 28 days or 21 day, whatever the effective day, whatever date the manufacturer recommends. If it's so, like if you're on day 27 after having 2 doses, you go to the hospital, like, oh, you're unvaccinated. So be careful how you listen to those statistics too, eh?
Law is defying the Constitution,
Oh,
including
this is-
long-standing Supreme Court precedent.
This is
Those
interesting.
precedents hold, in the words of Planned Parenthood versus
Okay,
Casey,
how do I
that,
click
quote,
on? Why is this?
regardless of whether exceptions are made for particular circumstances, a state may not prohibit any woman from making the ultimate decision to terminate her pregnancy.
Known as SB 8, the law differs from laws blocked in other states because it leaves enforcement up to private citizens through lawsuits instead of criminal prosecutors.
The statute deputizes
What just
all
happened?
private citizens without any showing of personal connection or injury to serve as bounty hunters.
In response to the Justice Department's lawsuit, Planned Parenthood says in a release, we welcome the announcement and will continue to do everything we
There it
can
is,
to
right at the
protect
top.
reproductive freedom. Reporting live, I'm Michelle Mackey.
And check out next.
Thanks, Toronto.
For continuing to make us #1 for breaking news, traffic, and weather.
They always close out.
Online and on your smartphone.
They always close out the hour or the 10-minute segment with the gas price to fucking piss you off and make you forget everything you just heard.
But you told us you missed us.
Oh, for fuck's
And
sake.
we missed you.
This company owns all their planes.
Our flights are back in the air.
This company
And our
owns.
team members
They parked their planes.
enthusiastically ready to greet you.
They parked their planes the last year and a half.
Destinations are starting, and you're ready to get going. It's going to be fun.
Speaking of contracts, I'm not getting it, but I honestly think they might even take away this. But yeah, well, in theory, but.
680 News gas price update and Pro predicts the price will
So
rise.
I'm on ODSP. I don't have that. A lot of people won't talk about their income. That's how I understand why I happen to be on ODSP.
Largest new outdoor event for auto enthusiasts this Friday through Sunday at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Get up close to the world's most exciting cars like Porsche, Ferrari, McLaren, Lamborghini, and Pagani. Driven at speed on the Dream Car Speed Level. Engage directly with manufacturers and take a test drive on one of our off-road, performance, and motorcycle test tracks. It's 3 days of automotive nirvana this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Get tickets at drivefestival.com.
The federal election is on Monday, September 20th, and keeping you healthy when you go to vote is our priority. At your polling station, there will be hand sanitizer stations and clear physical distancing markers, and the poll worker will be behind a plexiglass barrier.
Good, because they.
And you can bring your own pen or pencil to mark your ballot.
I'm going to use invisible ink.
Information on voting and or health and
I'm going to use ink that disappears and reappears.
or call 1-800-463-6868.
All right, I'll get so it's one. It's funny. And some days there's just nothing. Like I know there's news, but they aren't fucking discussing it. Fuck, I forget where I was at. Yeah, these motherfuckers here. So, some people wonder why I'm going around kicking all the dirt out of the storm drains. They didn't notice that there's been no street sweepers. See, sometimes you don't. You have to watch. You have to watch sometimes for a lack of something. Like, hey, what happened to Bill? Where's Bill? Hey guys, like other people are gonna wonder why is he using a camcorder to take a video of himself kicking the dirt out of the fucking. I need to prove I'm doing this because $339,000 for a company that doesn't own that. From what I discern from the article, they don't own street. They need to have 12 street sweepers. They do not have 12 street sweepers. It doesn't state that they have 11 or something. It just says they don't have them. Yeah. Your remark, I honestly, they, in theory, but I don't think they'll do that to people on disability. So Alberta is giving an incentive of $100 right now. They announced like a couple days ago. That I don't know how this works, and I'm not from Alberta. I probably wouldn't qualify, but I guess if you get the vaccine, you get $100. Just now, just think of like how like I'm not hating on the person that goes and does it to get the $100. But think of the thinking that goes into, hey, maybe we'll just give them $100 and yeah, you've been fucking us for so long. We're so desperate for $100. It might sway things. Because that's people like parents and stuff that are like, fuck, I need food for my kid. Fuck it. I know exactly who that's targeting. That's horrible. Or some people are going to say people on drugs or alcohol. But even that's just, that's no, I don't know how to put this. It's no better to target them either. I got so many comments in my head. I've been bitching and cussing at this shit, so I'm going to turn this on for 13 minutes after the hour. They're not going to tell us nothing. Okay. Hold on. Yeah, okay. You know what? I'll get to what I was going to say. The thing is, I'm compromised.
Easy road, it's like Buju. My girlfriend Cuckoo, I'm Camla Juju. Baby, I was paid a ball, it's like Lulu. You don't know, do you? Dump it down like voodoo. It's not an easy road, it's like Buju. My girlfriend Cuckoo, I'm Camla Juju. Baby, I was paid a ball, it's like Lulu. You don't know, do you? Dump it down like voodoo.
So I didn't initially get on disability for this reason. It's weird in my life. It's like all sorts of other shit happened that even if I didn't originally get approved, I would be approved now. Like if they're like, oh, we need to medically review you. You're not sick anymore. It's like, yeah, but I got a bunch of new sicknesses, and one of them's being immunocompromised. Yeah. Actually, you know what? Before I forget, some of the videos I don't remember if I saw this a few months ago and it didn't sink in. I was just like, I felt like, oh yeah, I'm affirmed and ignored the story. But so some of these vaccines work by teaching your cells to make a protein that basically is the same as the one on the coronavirus. So that then it's not attached to a virus, it's just a protein. So your body will figure out, hey, what's this? Let's get that shit out of here. Let's clean that up. So later on, if you get the real virus, your body will be already ready to go, like it's been training. But the fact that the way, I don't know exactly how, I didn't read the study. I watched videos of doctors trying to talk about this. This damages your cells, your blood vessel walls and shit in some way. It's called the spike protein. They're saying that the spike protein, here was the other thing, the way they phrase it. I don't know why I'm touching the virus comes in like this, and that's how you get it. It goes like that. When the spike protein attaches, it doesn't just attach or go in. Like, remember, we're talking about penetrating through a living cell wall, which is the equivalent of our skin. It is the fucking cell's skin. It says it damages it. Well, no shit. And then what happens? When it's done with our living cell, the cell explodes. I know, because B19, that's its thing. Is I don't know how to put this. It's a blood. The fucking virus likes red blood cells. So when it explodes, the body's not used to the fluid inside a cell being loose inside the fucking blood vessel. And now there's this virus pumping through your body. What's that take? 30 seconds to get through your whole body? Now every fucking red blood cell in my body is banging into this virus, getting reinfected. And there's an interesting thing that happened. Like you can feel it under the skin, like little explosions or bug bites. I don't know how to explain it. Not like scabies, like, oh my god, that's not what I mean. It's like a pinprick type of a feeling. And when it starts, it's like one will set the next one off all over the goddamn place because they're all going off. The blood cells are exploding. I gotta look at the B19 virus has a 20-sided, I believe it's called icosahedron. I gotta look that up. I saved it somewhere. It's a 20-sided shape. I was good at geometry. Don't get it twisted. I'm trying to read it in English now when I learned it in French, and these are Latin words and Greek letters. It's a 20-sided fucking shape to the protein shell of B19, but B19 is so incredibly small. It's 23 to 26. What do you say? Micrometers, nanometers, micrometers, whatever. I think it's nanometers or whatever we measure it in. But so it's an incredibly small virus. 17 minutes. I got a feeling John Oakley's going to run out of subject matter that I'm going to want to hear. And I am aware that as a radio host and a show host, he's supposed to introduce subjects that piss me off to elicit an opinion. He's not always saying he believes this or that. So I know sometimes I rant and say crazy shit. I'm playing my part. There's like the angry callers. He's the host. There's a call screener, and then there's me here yelling at myself. And this recording is just like to prove that this happens because I'm a little fucked up.
She certainly can't fly yet. Shut the airspace down. So I said, going to call a bunch of guys at the firehouse. And the first 3 guys say yes, then have the time off. That's the crew of 4. That's all I could fit in my car.
At this point, there was no guarantee their help would even be welcomed by the Americans, but they went anyway, knowing full well they may not make it past the border.
I was heavily armed with military from the United States. What's your credentials, this and that? I remember one of them say, how fast can this thing go? And I'm like, man, it's a Toyota Corolla. I don't know, 130, 140.
Condoms.
Go as fast as you want. Go 150 if you want. Goes,
you don't duct tape a condom on and walk around with it all day, right?
Radar tonight, I'm going to pull you over.
They left Toronto at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, arriving in Manhattan around 7 the next morning, met by roadblocks and a heavy police presence.
This is one of these historical things.
Wasn't letting anyone travel down, Broadway or through Times Square. I mean, it was just shut down.
This has to be 9/11.
We identify ourselves. We had our uniforms and our gear. So you need an escort. Well, what's said closest fire hall, so it had to be in ladder 8.
The Canadian contingent was escorted throughout the city by 2 FBI agents. They arrived at ladder 8 in Tribeca and were assigned to a crew.
We get to ground 0. There was an archway, and as soon as you get through, this is our entry point into ground 0, into the pit. And the first thing we saw was a fire truck cut in half, upside down.
The streets of Manhattan were awash in ash and dust.
Because the building fell off.
Piles of debris that may be 56 feet high, and then there's 6 subway levels below. So if you fell through a hole, you're going down 6 stories below.
The debris field from the collapse of the Twin Towers was massive.
You're not sure what you're walking on.
I'm not going to. We're not listening to this for more than 2 minutes.
One time,
no offense to anybody.
An SUV was flattened like you stepping on an empty can of soda, empty can of beer. So it's just flat.
It wasn't lost on Kennedy or his
colleagues. Are beer cans of different structural integrity than soda cans?
To be walking down, I'm having a couple of homeless gentlemen coming up to us, and
they were standing in a doorway. They were fine.
Collection. It's like, no, buddy, no, thank you, but no.
Neil Kennedy and his colleagues remained in New York for almost a week. Then on September 24th, then Mayor Rudy Giuliani announced it was unlikely that any other survivors would be found. Close to 3,000 people were killed in the attacks on 9/11. 24 of them were Canadian. Shalima Maharaj, Global News.
Global News. What are we listening to?
What a powerful story, and what a powerful account of someone who just
it's the nightly news simulcast.
Fuck
this was.
Trouble.
And when you see those pictures, and it just takes you right back, and it is difficult to, as Captain said, 20 years. It doesn't. It feels like that, and it also just feels like it was very.
That's why I don't want to just sit and listen to that. No offense, anybody my age or younger has heard all of this 1,000 times. No offense, we can't take it. Can't take it. It's so horrible. It's a horrible shit. Dude, I witnessed it as much as you did. You need to chill out. I can't handle your emotionalness. I wonder if there's air filters in here. The masks do something. All these stupid polyester masks, I don't see why people waste their time. And you can't tell what these fucking masks are made of just by looking at them. And some of them say, I saw one that said, I saw the box today, said 3-ply on it. It said Bionuclear Limited. Bionuclear Limited. Jesus Christ. It said 3-ply, but they look like the same stupid blue polyester shit. This is so you could argue that all the printing on it interferes with airflow, but whatever. This is 2-ply cotton. This will stop just about anything because it's not going to stop a virion, a virus particle. It won't. Good luck. But it'll stop spit droplets and shit. And it helps with not inhaling other people's spit droplets. Yeah, so since I'm on ODSP, I'm immunocompromised. I don't think they can force me to take it because I know their theory is to jab me full of shit. It's like, no, I got a blood disorder. You're not understanding. I can't take that shit. Okay, so if we're not holding on a one-to-one conversation, I'm gonna put let's hear this.
To keep students.
Okay, to keep students what? I guarantee that's a union ad or something. Could be Walmart. I had a cigarette. Yeah. Okay. I don't usually have a plan when I start these, so I'm not intending to make it all the way to 7, but if we do, I guess we'll check CRI. Alex Pearson's supposed to be back on the point, or on point. I had no idea. No, faster. There's 2 of them too. I can hear them roaring.
About taking you home, me and you, shorty, yeah, finna get it on. I'm hot when I do my thing. You hot too when you do your thing. We hot when we do a thing, so let's do a thing, baby girl, yeah, let's do a thing. So let's do a thing, baby girl, yeah, let's do a thing. So let's do a thing, baby girl, yeah, let's do a thing. Riding down 8th Street, suckers wanna hate me, probably cause they see me sitting shy with they ladies. I'm fly, should've known better. Everybody know that I'm a real go-getter. Go get your girl, go get your chick. See you do your thing, baby girl, with them hips. You an angel in disguise, you a devil in disguise. I'm a devil in disguise, we can get it on, girl. Come to my world, we can get this thing poppin'. I'll show you things you never seen, girl, and I ain't stopping. We roll through the hood, everybody know me. 21 and I'm a real OG, yeah. Let me do my thing, I wanna hear you sing my song when I rap to it, yeah. We took a break from the game, when it's saying now I'm back to it, Thinking about taking you home, me and you, shorty, yeah, finna get it on. I'm hot when I do my thing. You hot too when you do your thing. We hot when we do a thing, so let's do a thing, baby girl, yeah, let's do a thing. So let's do a thing, baby girl, yeah, let's do a thing. So let's do a thing,
wow, you're just gonna get this non-stop problem.
I wanna